Hi team, you have just been invited to the HIP California Slack workspace. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up your profile and preferences. Then I'll show you Slack's main user interface features we will use in our workflow, such as the search bar, creating a message, creating a channel. Then we'll move into app integration, working with Slackbot, Google Calendar, and Asana. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing, set up your profile and preferences. In the right-hand corner up top of the screen, if you see my picture here, go ahead and click there and you'll see a menu pop up where you can actually edit your profile, view your profile, and also view the preferences. I would definitely recommend you setting up your profile, your name, also what you do, and then contact information as you wish. The next thing is setting up your preferences. This is really important, so that way you can set up your preferences for your notification, how you want your user interface to look like. I think that's the great thing about Slack, is that we can customize how we use this workspace. I highly recommend setting up your notification to notify you when things are sent to you via all new messages. I recommend using and setting this preference to direct messages, mentions, and keywords. And then also notify me. I check this area where it notifies me about replies to threads I'm following. Following that, you can set up a notification schedule, which will allow notifications to come to you only during the hours that you choose. For example, I will allow notifications to reach to me on the weekdays between 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it says here that you won't receive notifications on Saturdays or Sunday. You can mute all sounds from Slack, or you can even show a badge on Slack's icon to indicate that you have a new activity. I highly recommend choosing include a preview of the message in each notification, or you can disable this for extra privacy. And I highly recommend you muting all sounds from Slack and including show a badge on Slack to indicate new activity. So that way you're aware of the notifications that come, but it doesn't necessarily bother you if you're in a meeting. You can also set it up to link up to your mobile device. And then you can also have them send you an email notification for mentions and direct messages once every 15 minutes or an hour. Other preferences, it allows you to customize your sidebar, which is great. I've customized mine so far. I allowed it to sort out alphabetically and also show profile pictures next to the direct messages. So my theme is currently dark, and then I got to choose my color preference as well, which keeps it fun and exciting. Go ahead and go down the list of messages and media, language and region, accessibility, mark as read, that's also another important one, and then audio and video as well. And that is it for setting up your profile and also your preferences. Slack is a communication platform, and I think they did a great job setting up their user interface. You can easily access the search bar, create messages, and create a channel for conversations about a project or even have team discussions. Let's start with the search bar. In the search bar, you can easily access it by hitting Command G. And the great thing about the search bar is you can really look into conversations that you've had with folks. Simply type somebody's name, and then you can go to that conversation. If you want to get more specific, you can even do so. For example, I can type in @Nancy, and we've discussed about the business plan for Asana. And you can simply click here, and it'll take you to our conversations. Now, another thing is you can look up files. You can also even look up things in your channels or conversations that you've had, and then including the people. Next, we're going to look at how to send a message. So when you first get started, make sure you send somebody a message. You can either click Command N for a new message, or you can click on this button here to write a new message. You can look up all your direct messages here, your draft messages here. And then if you have created a side message inside of an actual comment or a message, you can view your threads right here. And then lastly, I want to talk about channels. So as we said before, channels is a great way to communicate with the team or about a project. You can add a channel here. You can go to create a new channel, and then you can type in your channel name. You can also set this to private as you wish, or you can leave it to public, but if you set it to private, you will no longer be able to change it to public later on. In this case, for this tutorial, I'm going to keep this as private. Once you select that as private, you can now add folks. And so now you'll see that my channel has been created. A fun thing about this as well is that you can follow different channels that you're currently in. For example, in general announcement, this is a really important space where we get updated about anything from all the staff members, and I can favorite and star the channel by simply clicking on this star here. Once I click on the star, now I'm actually following this channel, so any information that comes up, I will get a notification for this channel that I'm following. For app integration, you'll move down to the bottom section of the Slack user interface. Under here it says apps. In apps, you'll be able to integrate different apps such as Asana, Google Calendar, and Google Drive. The first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at Slackbot under direct messages. This is something that is integrated with the Slack platform, and Slackbot is a great tool to remind yourself for different deadlines. For example, you can do /reminder, and then you'll be able to set yourself a reminder. For example, remind me to create a tech inventory. I can set this to a due date. For example, I can set this for 11 and for tomorrow, and I can create this. And Slackbot will remind me tomorrow that I will have this inventory list that I need to create by tomorrow at 11. Another great thing to do for if you like to write notes to yourself is if you go and click on your name in direct messages, you can actually write yourself a message and keep it as a note to yourself. With other app integrations such as Asana and Google Calendar, you'll be able to sync up your Google Calendar with your Slack as long as you go over to About, and then you can click Configuration, and that will show you the steps how to configure your Google Calendar to your Slack. And the great thing is, for example, up here, you'll see that I'm currently in a meeting. That shows that I'm actually working on something in Slack so that other folks, for example, in your team, can see that you're currently working on something or in a meeting. The other app integration that we'll be using is Asana. Fun thing about Asana is that you'll be able to use the app integration and actually create tasks in Slack via your conversations and then see them in Asana. So to do that, simply go down to send a message to Asana and you'll write Asana. You can also click at /Asana or create a task with Asana. And then you'll be able to write out the task name, the project, the due date, add a description, and then click create. Another way to create this as well is, for example, I'm having a conversation with somebody. If I go over to Katie asked me to create a Google account. So for example, I can go over to more actions. I can create a task. It will have the description of what Katie had asked me to do. And then I can write the description here. Create a Gmail account for youth justice. And then I can click create here. So I'm going to set the due date. For example, by the end of the month. So I'm going to do this on Wednesday, and then I'm going to click create. And then it will actually then create the task in Asana. And I can go over to Asana and view that as well. Other things that you can look up here in Slack to help with your workflow is if you go over to the question mark here, you'll see that there is the help, a quick start guide, tutorials, and then also keyboard shortcuts. I definitely highly recommend you to check out some keyboard shortcuts to help you in your workflow. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.